Welcome to episode 2 of my podcast, Unstoppable by Minal Bharwaney. I am a CEO of the Reiki Healing Sanctuary. I have been teaching for over 11 years. I am also a podcast host and I am a private tutor. In today's episode, I introduce Shobha Nihalani, who is a genre author. She has coached many people on their journey to write books. I am so honored to have her today with me in this episode. Welcome to the podcast for those of you who are joining anew. Thank you for coming to my show today.
Thank you, Minal. I'm so honored to be here with you, especially since you've published your book about reawakening. And what's actually really interesting today is I noticed you're wearing red. Such a vibrant, beautiful color for summer. Tell me why did you choose red?
Thank you. So I actually designed it because I think red is a very powerful color and many people can carry it off, but people will always have some type of judgment towards that. Mm-hmm. And I believe in affirmations, especially the I am. With I am, some people may think it's ego coming from the I, but I think it's more acknowledgement of the self in terms of the I. Acknowledging the self is very important because you are acknowledging who you are. And so the I am is an expression strengthened by the root chakra, and it passes on to the other chakras as well. All these chakras are not seen as one dimension. They are 4D from the front to the back of our bodies. Mm. And also, these are supported by the root chakra, which is the base of the I am. So these bring up the essence of who and what we are. It makes us who we are, and how we express ourselves in this day and age is very important for self-expression. It is to keep us safe and grounded, because in my first episode I talked about vulnerability, and that is a very important self-expression as well. It is a huge type of form.
Right, and that's why red stands for the root chakra.
Yes.
And red empowers you, and it's like you said, it keeps you grounded and it keeps you confident in the I am.
Yes.
And I so agree with you actually, Minal, because you know what? When I talk about self-esteem, I notice that we always are talking about what we are doing, not how we are being. And there's a difference with being and doing. When we are doing, we are constantly feeling we are not good enough, or we are comparing ourselves to others, or we are feeling less than, and we strive harder and harder to be like everyone else. And then we lose that uniqueness, which is the being. And you so rightly said it, that we have to be grounded in that.
It is very true. And when we are grounded, we know our plan, our journey. It is a very, very safe space for us, because so many times this I am and the root chakra, it is for us to be grounded, because the opposite is feeling unsafe, feeling scared, feeling vulnerable, feeling fear. And what is the fear? Fear of the unknown. So the fear of the unknown is also the what if. What if this happens to me? What if I can't handle it? What if I'm not capable? It's the what if that can stop us from achieving our goals.
Yeah, absolutely. What if? And then we create all these stories in our head of things going wrong. And then when we create those stories, we get stuck in them. True, and that's where the fear comes in. And the fear makes us feel that we cannot do more. And we feel that we have to stay stuck in our own zone. And then we can't step out of our comfort zone. I'm sure you also have experienced this before. So how would you step out of your comfort zone? Like, I have a way. I'm sure everyone has their way. But to be unstoppable, like what your podcast is all about, how do you achieve that?
So that's a very good question. It is the basis of something that we can be very uncomfortable with. Even sometimes speaking out can make us not understand who we were and who we are. And so with my comfort zone, the biggest example I have to date is recently, obviously, pushing myself to do a podcast because no one asked me to. And we need to do the podcast to be heard, to be understood.
Agreed.
So many of us have voices unheard, unspoken. And so the biggest thing I did was I told myself I'm going to do this no matter what I face, whether it's the weather or forgetting a particular microphone or something that day. I said no matter what, I have the possibilities to face it and the possibility to achieve it. And fear is not holding me back. Because when I started the podcast, it's not about what people think, it's about just getting myself out there. And in terms of pushing myself out of my comfort zone, back in 2019, it was my friend's wedding. It was 700 people. I pushed myself to do a solo dance.
Oh,
and my parents were like, you have guts. I said, yeah. And I never even showed them what it was. And I pretty much choreographed 75%.
Wow.
And then I did back-to-back dances. And at that time, I just pushed myself. And I wasn't even nervous. It was more about achieving it and getting it done.
And how did you feel after that?
Oh, I felt a lot of relief because I can just relax and talk to everyone, and had a full working day that day.
Wow. So that means if you actually step out of your comfort zone, you push yourself to do things, you can test your potential. You can also test if you can do more. And if you do a certain thing and you achieve it, and like you were successful, you can actually do so much more, isn't it?
Yes.
Like you can actually push your limits and be unstoppable. So that's what I admire about you, and the fact that you actually went into this writing space, which is my comfort zone space. But I love being a writer, and I really support people who have this desire to write a book or this dream to write a book. And I really support people who bring out their unique thoughts to share with the world.
Yes.
Because that's what we need now. All the unique thoughts. We don't want thoughts from Google. We don't want other people's ideas from AI. We want unique, self-reflected, self-thought out and experiences to show up so that we learn from them. So how did that work out?
So when I finished with my clients, I sort of felt that I needed them to be more aware. And it's not that they're not aware. Everyone has their own conscious level. Everyone has their own consciousness. It's about bringing that consciousness into action. And so I would follow up with my clients maybe 2-3 times. And I would notice if there's a change or not. But I'm not there to judge them. Each one has their own journey. So what I wanted to do is write a self-help book that gives them that aha moment. Because I am there for them. However, say for example, I'm traveling, or say for the moment I'm in another meeting. So at that time I cannot respond. So normally they need someone to be there for them to feel seen and heard. And the reaction is that then they can compartmentalize their thoughts and rearrange what they want to do. And so with that, it is essential that they can have a go-to book to just figure things out as well and make changes that nobody has pushed them to. Nobody has subjected them to that. It is their freedom of self-expression.
Yeah.
And I feel that with my book, it is what I went through. And when life lessons are repeated, something has to shift. So if it's going to repeat, and I use this favorite metaphor, washing machine. And so it's in a cycle, right? You choose the temperature, you choose the climate, you choose the condition. But that can all change. And so for people to have that awareness to make something happen for them, it is when they're consciously making the decision to change something in their life. It could be something as small as, for example, changing their style, and so to make them feel more confident.
So I understand that to be change is the only permanent, like everyone talks about. But change must also mean we must take action. And that comes from, one is taking habits, little small habits, small changes in your daily routine, learning to test your limits. So if you're scared of doing something, try and do it so that you get better at it and your mind is not so controlled by the fear. Like it's facing your fear.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then the third thing would be reframing a situation, right?
Yes.
So if something's not looking right or you feel uncomfortable, somebody said something, reframe it like they don't know what I'm going through. They don't know what my life is like. So if people want to judge or criticize,
Yes.
let them do it. Like you say, they come from their level of consciousness.
Yes.
So we are not going to be affected by it.
Exactly.
We will be affected by it, but we choose to not respond to it and react to it.
Yes. So yesterday there was a situation wherein I chose to be the bigger person. I chose to have more understanding. I chose to question what the person means for their exact expression, because feelings and anger can motivate someone to change, right? It's opposite of fear. But this point is that they had to change the mindset.
Yes.
Because this person was stuck on one thing. But I tried to open up the possibility, say, no, you are not stuck with this, but you think you're stuck, because the illusion of fear is you're stuck.
Yeah.
And it's like a train. Who says you can't change the train? The tracks can change. Who says you can't change your direction? Example, you're traveling, you want to go to Hawaii, but maybe you pit stop first in LA. So who says that cannot happen? We
can.
make it happen.
So we choose it, and if we are noticing, and like I very much admire the fact that you mention intuition in the
Yes.
book, and I think because we have 5 senses, but we don't give enough respect to the 6th sense.
Yes.
And we sort of are lost in the noise of this world. There's so much input from all over that we lose that connection with ourselves, with that inner calm, smart, wise voice. We don't sort of connect with it.
Very often we can lose it.
We lose it. And in that space, when we do connect with it, we are sometimes given answers, like quite simply, a simple one like to wear red today.
Yes.
It may be a message. To me, it could be like,
Yes.
Shobha, stay grounded. It's a sign.
Correct.
I look at it that way. Whatever I see around me, I look at it as messages that helps me, guides me to be more aware of what's going on internally. And I think that's where your book brings us to that awareness of what's going on internally and how to change it.
Exactly. So with my first book, I wanted to just touch on intuition, because we all have intuition. It's how we use it. It's how we use it to help us, and it is part of our higher self. And it can be neglected, which is where people have fear, because some of my friends, who are also some of my clients, they don't know how to use their intuition 100%. They don't want to listen. They want to block it. And so at a young age, I always used my intuition. I was also clairaudient, and so that could be one of my other 6 senses which I can build. And for me, it was never shying away from understanding and listening. It was more how to use it to help other people. And so book 2 covers love your intuition. And I used to say trust, but again, trust is another word, because fear, there is lack of trust within yourself. And so back to the 6th sense, it is also the unknown.
Correct.
I didn't know I would have premonition that I would leave my laptop. However, today when I messaged you, that could have been my higher self giving you a message to say, okay, this is Minal's backup message for today.
Yeah. Which worked out perfectly.
Yes, and I've been wanting to wear red because for me it has been useful for my empowerment. And I wasn't allowed to wear red back then when we were younger, different connotations. But why not now? It is self-expression, right?
And that comes to social and childhood conditioning.
Yes.
When we are conditioned, we trust the people around us because they are
Of
our
course.
elders. They know better. They tell us how we should be,
Right.
what our life is going to be. But at the end of the day, we are answerable to ourselves as well. We live always within ourselves, within our mind, and if we are constantly battling external conditioning with our internal needs, we're never going to find that sense of fulfillment that we seek. So ultimately, it's not disrespecting the elders, it is understanding their point of view, but working and navigating through life so you have a comfortable relationship with your elders, with your peers, with whoever it is that you ask for guidance, and work towards achieving your own sense of fulfillment, your purpose that you want to achieve. I would say similarly with me, I loved reading. And for me, books were everything. They were my best friends.
Yes.
And I always felt that I couldn't fit in because I was a bookworm and an introvert. So I would find it hard to socialize, and I would find it difficult to fit in because the conversations I had with certain people I would socialize with, and I would find it hard to communicate.
Okay.
But later on, I discovered that, I need to be able to communicate, because for me, words matter. Through words, we express ourselves and we connect with people. So how about I learn to use the right words to be able to connect with others? And that's how I also became a writer, and more lately, became a speaker, because that was a challenging part.
Okay.
Stepping out of my comfort zone.
Right.
So conditioning doesn't necessarily have to be something that makes you feel stuck. Conditioning is a learning curve. It helps you to understand where you are, and you learn things, life lessons, right? You learn to be disciplined, you learn to follow a sort of how would you say it, a custom, a ritual, and learn to respect. So all of these things are very important as a community. And then aside from that, you can stand out with your unique talents, qualities. You don't have to suppress them. You can bring them out.
Self-expression.
Yes. So in all of that, I would say that today I have no regrets, because I forged a path.
That's great.
That was what I wanted, and balanced it with, keeping keeping the peace with the
Momentum.
Conditioning.
Yes. I would change the word conditioning to adaptability.
Wow.
Because we do not need to fit into society. So I've always told people I meet, I don't feel Cindy, I just am energy. It doesn't matter. Yes, I'm a woman. I know that. I'm complete acceptance of it. However, I'm literally energy. So early on, I think I broke out of my adaptability, because I already knew back then I wanted hotel management. I loved it. It was my passion, and I was very good at it. But I left it, and the reason why I left it was I kept getting injured. So these were signs, and I didn't understand until I had to check. And so I built the company from scratch. I started with friends and people who I didn't really know, and built it up for about 11 years now. And then while I was just starting the company, I also said I want to get into English to teach. Not because people need to learn English, but because something needs to change. And that probably is expression, which I didn't realize back then. And there was always been podcasts, and I never really listened to reasons, because every time maybe it would get cut, or maybe the timing would be different. And even the other day I was trying to listen. I listened to Jay Shetty purely because he is one of my favorites. But I tried to listen to others, and I never thought I'll be a podcaster. I never thought I'll write my book. And funny enough, when I started writing on the MacBook, it would just literally disappear. And I would have this game with universe, really. So I would email myself and have a USB. So with expression and getting out of your comfort zone, I already chose, I love to design since I was young, and I chose the colors. I haven't worn yellow in forever, so I started wearing yellow. I've never worn red, so I designed these for myself. But in terms of getting back to writing, I never thought I would finish the book. I left it for 6 months. I was traveling, it was pre-COVID. I also thought I'd publish before COVID. But so many things, and I'm even surprised that there was one negative person who was I went to for a session, and it was like a healing session, and then this person said, no, don't write a self-help book, there are so many. And I told myself, this is this person's point of view, I would not let it affect me. And this is one person in about 7 billion people now, maybe 8.1 billion, and why should I just listen to this one person? And then I see Jay Shetty's books, I see so many other books, and one of my themes for the basis of the book is Louis Hay, Heal Your Life.
Yes.
And I used to listen to 101 Ways by Wayne Dwyer in the car with my mom. So I said, okay, audiobook can help people to sync it to their neuro-linguistic programming, because I never thought I would study healing. I've always loved the so-called occult palmistry, face reading, psychics. In fact, in terms of breaking out of the box, I think universe has sent me the sign, because randomly I pick a Netflix show and it shows that this main character is an author. I said, okay, universe. And so I never thought breaking out of my comfort zone will make me or allow me to have the time to write 2 books at the same time. And I love it. And the next one is Notes to Self, because even though people have published a similar thing, it is different based on what I feel of the day. So for example, today, even though it went a bit topsy-turvy in the morning for me, I said, no matter what, I can achieve it, I can accomplish it, and I am capable of so much. So the I am really helped.
Yeah, you are amazing. That's important. And importantly also is that you have challenged, naysayers, and done what you wanted to do. So that takes a lot of courage.
Yes.
And I like to talk about courage, because no matter what we do, we have to have the courage to face ourselves and face others. Fine, if you try something and you fail, or you feel it didn't work out, at least you tried. So that's where we need to share with others as well.
Of course.
You want to do something, do it. It doesn't work out, it's okay, you tried. No regrets. The important thing, be grateful and have no regrets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awareness of regrets is very essential, because in terms of courage, those who never had the courage, they regret it before they pass away. They even share it with some of the nurses or doctors. So with regret and courage, it's that passion to try to do something, to continue something, even if you forgot a hobby as simple as knitting or as simple as sketching. Who's to say you can't do that on the bus? Who's to say you can't do that on one of the weekdays? Or who's to say you can't rearrange your schedule to make time for you?
Yeah.
And with courage, I know that for me, for writing, it takes courage to have your self-expression, to have your opinions put there. I was going to name the book Journey of a Healer, but I don't want to label myself a healer, because everyone has their own journey. So that's why I put it as Reawaken, because I used to be the Sleeping Beauty. He didn't do that much in terms of procrastination, in terms of, let it go for the next day, I can finish it tomorrow. But no, Carpe Diem, seize the day. And the reason why is because you want to do it, have the courage to do it. To get out of our comfort zone is the first step. But the first step is always the hardest, because A, it's mindset. B, it's the fear. And C, I think it's fear of judgment from others. So the fear of judgment is the naysayers. But so what? There will always be a naysayer.
There will.
It's so obvious when you go and open Instagram. Someone who posted something that could be funny is deemed as sarcastic, and therefore it has a negative connotation. But it's perspective on how you see yourself, how you see what their intention was. And so for courage, you have to build up on it. It's like Lego. You put the layers and put the layers, and you yourself can knock it down with your own self-judgment. So courage is a skill that has to be attained and has to have daily input.
Yes, that's true. It's having this courage to be you, to be who you want to be, and courage to say that this is me and I'm okay with it. And the fact is that we are constantly influenced, like you said. You brought up Instagram, social media influences us, the people we meet or in society influences us. So all of these are bits and pieces that get stuck inside us, and then we are sort of navigating through that maze and trying to figure out, who do we really want to be, and is it that we have to be like everybody else, or can we just be yourself?
You have the capability and the freedom to be yourself. But so many people put us in conditions. I call it jail, mental jail. So who says your jail cannot be all the way in Lantau thinking of some nice beach or some nice sunset, or for those of you who are early risers, sunrise. And sometimes when we have that mindset, we entrap ourselves. So my recent mindset was, I am happy that I made a working office at home. However, I'm not bound to it. I can still work from my sofa, I can still work outside, I can still go to have some fresh air and work. But that is just the desk to remind me that I'm accomplishing my goals. And I made it in the house so that I know it's there and I have that aha moment and awareness. And with social conditioning, I never wanted to study law. I knew that I already wanted to do much more than that. And even though I may have a fondness for reading some files, and my favorite word is negligence, because so many people are unaware of something, they made a mistake. But the case that they are unaware, it just cracks me up, because where is the consciousness? You had the choice. And then where is your action from that? And when people realize and they make their, I think it's repent, and they say sorry, but then it guilt strips them. But then where is your courage to have made a better choice?
That's true, yeah.
And so it's like in a way, it's like a cycle. But once you have that awareness and that consciousness, because the courage makes you take the step, but then did you think about the risks?
Yeah. So you wrote this book, Reawaken.
Yes.
Why did you write it?
So I wrote it for a few reasons. One is I originally thought it would be my journal towards the self, towards penning my thoughts down. But then the awakening was that more people, since I've been counseling for around 10 years, people need that encouragement. People need that validation. People need their self-expression to be understood, to be heard, to be coached. And so people already know what they want, but sometimes it's giving them the courage to do it, giving them the push to try. And so I made a new friend when I pushed myself out of my comfort zone to do bachata, which is like salsa dancing. And she's Korean, she's very sweet. She loved the book so much. She even told me from the chapter of the book that, Minal, I associate with narcissism because few people around me are narcissistic, etc. So she immediately opened up to her story. So that's her validating her feelings, that she's been feeling this way for a long time, but she was never able to express herself. And so I want this book to help other people help themselves.
That's very, very useful. And it's timeless. And it's also like you can open any page and you can get some wisdom from it. So it's a very useful book. And
so tell me a bit more about your book, their latest book.
So Self-Esteem in a Selfie World, that's a book that I chose to write when I was noticing that there were a lot of studies being done about how social media affects the mindset of teens and affects how they think about themselves. And it became more of it came out in the media. Like there was a lot of studies, research done, and I felt that I wanted to explore that topic. So I began to write about it. Then I realized it's not just about social media, it's every area of our life that we have this sensation that we are not good enough. And it relates also to conditioning, where a lot of people look at themselves and they feel that they are not perfect. So there's a perfectionism part of it, there's an imposter syndrome part of it.
Oh yes, imposter syndrome.
Yeah, and there are many other aspects of how we feel about ourselves. But that's a very fundamental need, that we need to feel good enough. If we feel good enough, we can do anything in life. And it's such a powerful, how would you say it, like understanding of the self.
Yes.
If we do not have that clarity that we are good enough, we are going to lose our identity. we let everybody else decide our life story.
Right.
We just do what everybody else wants because their goals are more important than our goals. We don't feel compassion for ourselves when we make mistakes. We struggle with guilt all the time because if you give yourself me time, you think you should be doing something else.
Yes.
So all of this combination makes life a struggle. When I wrote the book, it became something that a lot of people related to. I interviewed a lot of people who had experienced low self-esteem. Also talked to experts, mental health professionals, and they gave me a lot of information related to it and how people can change. So in the book, I also provide that. And I believe that having written the book, it's helped me as well to understand that we can change, we can have a growth mindset and reframe our reality to do what we want to do. And life is about having that pleasure of loving yourself. Why is it that we should hate ourselves?
Self-love is
Why do we constantly criticize ourselves and everything that we do? So the judgment has to be coming from within ourselves to love ourselves.
Yes.
And that's why this book still makes me think about how many people who've come to me and said that it's brought value to their lives and awareness.
That's what I love about it, because the genre is from teenagers to adults, because young teens are very self-aware nowadays, and some of them even want help. The sales lady in Booker Teen said, you should put your book in Philippines because a lot of the youth are needing something. And of course they may have the religion, they may have some talks they go to, some gatherings, some counseling, but they really need to implement the change, whether they have lack of self-confidence and lack of awareness. It all starts within, because they know there's a change needed. It's like waking up and you say that the expression is you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, but you can choose how to wake up. You can choose in which form or way you wake up. And so what I really love about your book is that it can help the youth, because so much youth have struggled with family issues and family dynamics, and within the dynamics nobody's perfect. They're still in the conditioning box. Oh, your grandma used to do this, so you should do this. Back then they lived a simpler life. Now it's full of technology, it's full of conditionings, it's full of demands. You don't get to be if you're not going to be a lawyer or a doctor or someone high up in the academic field, you're going to fail. And who said that? Because so many people now have dropped out. I just realized Mark Zuckerberg, I think he's dropped out before in high school or college. So what makes someone successful? And we're talking about confidence. They didn't have the confidence. They didn't have that mindset to begin with. I was listening to Tony Robbins' story, and he went through hell, because I was always wondering, how do these millionaires have it so easy? Oprah, multi-billionaire, she doesn't have it that easy.
No,
J.K.
she started
Rowling also.
They all struggled. They all faced challenges in their lives, and then they became stronger and stronger. I guess challenges also builds you up, builds the courage and gives you the willpower to do more and to be more. And I guess that's what they're sharing with all of us, that we should not give up and we should not stay stuck, and we should strive to do what we want to do. Pursue that purpose and passion and feel fulfilled, because money doesn't give you everything. Yes, money does give you the basic necessities, but beyond that,
of course,
apply your money to make yourself a better person or a happier person.
Yes, we need to apply that growth mindset with what we want to do. And it's okay to not know your life purpose at a younger age, but the fact that you're going to try, and trying is the first step. And so I think that people should have a clear mind in terms of making sure who they listen to, and who they listen to is themselves, their inner voice. We're not saying go and do something that will have a huge effect. For example, go into theft or go into some negative outcome. Have your basic values intact. Exactly.
Recognize that you work within the boundaries of what is right and good for all. So look around you who needs help. Sometimes if you're too self-absorbed, also you lose yourself in that mix of what's going on within you. But if you step out, look around you, and then you start feeling that you can do more, and you can learn from mentors, you can learn from people who have achieved. There's always space for you to try something, even within the limited circumstances that you have. So it's okay to work towards maybe a dream that maybe your parents have, but it's also okay to pursue something that you want to do.
So have the courage to speak up, to face your truth, and have the courage to make a start. And it's okay to make mistakes. If we never had a mistake, we'll never learn from it. So how do we know if we never try?
So failure is not failure, it's a life lesson.
Exactly. And failure is what can make people have setbacks, and setbacks can take them forever to start anew, or setbacks can take a second to change your mindset in a split second to say, I can do better, I'm worthy, and I know better. So it definitely is a growth mindset that some people can try to achieve in baby steps. No one can get to the Mount Everest in a day. We need at least maybe 7 days and planning, right? And backup plan, because that's one of the most dangerous excursions. But who said it cannot be done?
Agreed.
So a little bit of listening to ourselves, a little bit of allowing ourselves to be, and allowing ourselves to make decisions that will benefit us, and that will help those who need it. And that's why I think we have written these books, to help others to be constantly in that awareness that I can do it.
And also, if you want to be in your comfort zone, it's okay. You just have to be happy where you are. If you constantly beat yourself up for doing something that you're not happy about yourself,
definitely,
it's still something to think about. Why am I beating myself up? Why can't I be happy just being me, with all my flaws and all my wrinkles? It's just be me and be happy, and that's important to recognize.
With our comfort zone, it is okay to be in it, and that's where we feel safe. But it's okay to take a little step and then figure it out. Take a step and figure it out. That's the planning stages of your comfort zone. So the safe environment for us to plan. But you never know.
It comes back to the red and being grounded and feeling safe.
Yes, the I am. Because without the I am, we can always be walking in fear. So for example, oh no, there's going to be thunderstorms, so my equipment will get wet. But who says you can't make adjustments? So get a waterproof backpack. So simple steps that will make us have our day easier can be managed no matter what. It's just that awareness to make that change, to evolve into something that you want to become. And no one's going to judge us except ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely, Minal. I love this conversation we had.
Thank you for joining me today. I'm so lucky to have you in Hong Kong with me.
Thank you, Minal. And it's powerful, unstoppable. May everyone strive for that.
Thank you.